Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Spirit Journey. This is a live stream. Today is June 7th, 2020, and the time, according to my clock, is 4:41 a.m. in the morning. I woke up maybe 40 minutes ago, actually, and I started watching some videos. And I was attracted to this one video, the thumbnail, and it had it showed two individuals in this thumbnail, a young man and an older man. And the young man, actually he was 16 years old, and the other male is 45. But this video was part of, it was during a protest in the United States. This whole melee regarding the police brutality of police officers killing innocent civilians. And it's escalating now for over a week. And so I played the video, and the older gentleman he's 45 years old, and he's impassioned and trying to convey to the 16-year-old. It turns out with the 16-year-old, he had been sprayed in the face with mace by a police officer. And the anger that he felt. And the older gentleman is trying to, even in his passion, to convey a message. You can feel the love in him. See, some people may be afraid of that type of passion. See, there's passion. Someone could speak passionately, but be in a state of love and control, self-control. And just because someone is raising the voice could be misunderstood. In fact, I'm just reminded now as I'm thinking this, I was at a bank one time, a major bank in America, and there were two black women who were very animated, talking very excitedly, and nothing happened. And I said to myself, wow, if we were at this other bank and the women doing that, now the women weren't arguing, they were just speaking passionately regarding whatever. But see, a couple of months prior to that, I was banking at another bank, and I was profiled at this bank. I'm very soft-spoken in general, and many of you who have been watching my videos, I'm basically very soft-spoken. And one day I had gone to this bank. I'm going to give the name of the bank that profiled me. It was Chase Bank. Chase Bank had purchased out another bank, Washington Mutual. And so I had no say in the matter. But one particular day, I went to which is now Chase, to get to deposit my money. I had a check that I needed to deposit. It was just a straight deposit, and to just get a listing of the Chase banks, since now my old bank is no longer available for me. So I need to get a list of the locations at Chase Bank. Now this incident happened, it will be, let's see, I think it was August. No, it was June. Yeah, it was late June. That's right. It was late June, 11, going on 11. This June will make it 11 years ago. And it's 2020 now. Yeah, so it's 2009 this happened to me. 2009 in late June. And so I thought that was a simple request, deposit the money, and then get a listing of the different Chase locations so now I can do my banking. So I went to the teller to deposit money, and then I asked her, when will the check clear? She says, it should just take such and such. So I took my receipt, and then I looked at the receipt, and then she told me also to get the, what do you call it? The information regarding the bank locations, to go to customer service for that, which was towards the exit of the door. So I walked over to this desk, customer service. And that's when all the magic happened. So I'm explaining to the customer service, it was a woman, and I noticed that she was looking at me funny. And I continued talking because, sometimes people could just have weird expressions. But no. Right after that, just within seconds after I arrived to talk to the customer service, a security guard comes up to me. His English wasn't the best. He was an American fellow, but he didn't speak with good diction. But what he said, like I had it translated in my head, what this man's saying, and why is he, I'm trying to figure, why is he standing next to me? But what he did say, like sometimes I have to repeat to my mind what was just said to me. He said, something like, "What's wrong, lady? I heard you got a problem." But it was very, like, in your face. And I'm trying to figure out, why is he standing here and asking me? I'm talking to customer service. And then when I realized what he said, translate what he said in my head, and then I turned and looked at him and says, "Why do you think I have a problem? Who said that I had a problem?" So I turned away and continued talking to the woman. And the woman is acting funny. And she's like mocking me. And then and the man is still standing there too. And I couldn't figure out what in the world is going on. And then shortly after the security guard standing there, someone from behind us, behind the customer service was a door. Someone races in at the door. Like there's a fire or something. And then stands and looks at me. And then I turn around and look around me to see what's going on, and the people behind me. the cubicle of someone sitting down is, you know, a, a what do you call it? The one of the workers there, you know, um, to help you with your account. And I realized the focus of attention is me. And it's not like a lot of people in the bank. This location I went to was on 42nd Street and 10th Avenue. And then I turn back to focus on continue talking to the customer service. And she's like mocking me. And then she takes it to the drawer. Oh, you mean this? And she takes it and holds it with her pinky and thumb and dangling, holding from the corner, extreme corner, and dangling in front of my face. And I'm wondering what the hell is going on. And then I take the paper and leave. And I realize that I was profiled. At some point, I presume the teller alerted security on me. Why? I deposit money and asked her a question where to get a little. That's all. And I have to add this because none of the people involved were white. The teller, what she looked like a woman from the Caribbean, a light-skinned Hispanic woman from the Caribbean. The customer service, a very dark-skinned Caribbean-sounding woman. And then the security guard, a dark-skinned American male. And the people who were surrounded, the other workers, the one at the cubicle staring, looked like a black American male, and the one that barged through the door, a light-skinned Hispanic male from the Caribbean looking. And I was the target. What in the world happened? To this day, I still don't know what happened. When I left, I talked to a family member. I started crying because I was getting very excited because what was being told to me by this family member. And I was advised to write a letter to the general manager of the bank. And I did. I typed it up, mailed it, and I left my telephone number, and yes, that general manager called me. I do not remember the name of the person. And in short, well, my request was this in the letter and in the phone conversation. I explained to him again what happened and that I want to have a meeting with him, to go over the video and to try to find out what happened, why was security sent on me, and why did the people behave the way they were. He told me, I think in the second conversation, because see, oh wait a minute, it could have been the same one. Either way, the final response of this general manager of Chase Bank during that time, he said, oh, well, we completed our investigation and nothing was done. That wasn't a security guard, that was a personal banker. I said, oh, really? I said, I used to do security work, and how he approached me was the way that many security people in security engage in people that they suspect of doing certain things. That's not a way of talking to, a personal banker. And there were bankers or around, and bankers don't wear the type of clothes he's wearing, and they don't speak the way he does. He could hardly speak proper English. And why would I need a personal banker to get a piece of paper when I'm talking to customer service? Why would I need him, a second person? And why did that customer service person treat me the way they did? What happened? I want to sit down and go over the video and find out what happened. He said, well, nothing happened. You got what you wanted, so it's all complete. There's nothing else. It's the case is closed. And that's what happened to me. Now, something happened to trigger this woman. And the only thing that I could even think maybe what was going on, when I deposited my money and she gave me the receipt, I didn't have my reading glasses, so I was squinting at the piece of paper. And that was it. Squinting at my receipt to read it. And this alarmed the teller, which alerted customer service, which alerted security, which alerted the people in the back office. So here, white institutions are even teaching blacks, West Indians, Hispanics to target Black American woman who is gentle-spirited, gentle-hearted, soft-spoken, but to receive this type of response. So how could something like this Chase Bank, do this to me, and then now at a riot, a protest, 3 generations of men, one 16, one 31, the other 46. Now these are, some of them are tall, and yes, they were passionate. And the 16-year-old had just been shot with mace. And the older gentleman is pleading with the young 16-year-old. And the 16-year-old, I think another reason why I looked at that thumbnail was because he looked like a relative of mine. Yes, he looked like a relative of mine. I was curious, what happened to him. What happened to him? He was sprayed. And he was interviewed, later interviewed by news media. And he explained to him what was going on, what preceded it, and how he is racially profiled in a store, profiled by a white woman. And he sees that she's just following him, making sure he's not stealing, or whatever, what she thinks. So I feel the frustration involved with these men who are passionate and have to please other people's own emotions. I cannot um, modify, I'm not responsible for other people's emotions. You have to monitor your own body and your own emotions, your own actions. And to put on a 16-year-old child, minor, to put upon a 31-year-old man and a 45-year-old man to control their emotions right after they got sprayed with mace, at least one of them. How to control anger when you're having a peaceful march. Now, if, let's say, what I mentioned earlier about a ladder bank, a different bank, my current bank actually, of two women were in very animated conversation, security probably would have been summoned over, and maybe something would have happened. Versus Chase Bank, and I didn't do anything. So black people are now responsible for how white people's institution, how they're going to feel inside. Just imagine if I was a bigger person. I relatively have a small, I am tall, considered tall, but I'm very slim. But you have people very big, extremely big in mass. People who may have a stronger voice than I do. So what about those people? There are some people that, like, they might say, oh, you have a serious look on, talking to other people, that they have a serious look. Okay, I remember. I used to live in the West Indies. And some of the whites would say, oh, you have a serious look on your face, to some of the black men there. Now, in the West Indies, in the English-speaking world, in the Caribbean, they're not smiley people. They're not. And they can have very expressive, a broad range of facial expressions. They're passionate. The Caribbean in general, very expressive in their face. And this intimidates a lot of white people. And they want you to smile all the time. Smile, smile, smile. Why should we have to smile for you? Why aren't you smiling? Why do black people have to smile for you? Why can't we be ourselves, with ourselves? Why do you have to always police, some of you? Why do you have to police what people do with their bodies, whether they're smiling, not smiling, how they talk, not talk? Why? How do you expect a 16-year-old to manage himself when some of you adults, white adults, you go into our communities and you do acts of violence? That was the other thing I want to talk about. Violence and aggression. Now, this 16-year-old boy was talking about his anger, and it was anger. There was anger and aggression, not violence. I think it was anger and aggression. You know, the two are two different words, and they do not mean the same thing. Someone could be angry, but they can have a smile on their face. Anger is someone's dismay about a particular matter, but it does not mean that they are aggressive. What is aggression? See, it's a re-education. Okay. What the police officer who murdered George Floyd, that cop who murdered him was aggressive. He was aggressive. Officer Chauvin is an aggressive man. He was aggressive. The victim, George Floyd, was calm. Was he angry? Most likely he was angry at being arrested for sitting in his car, minding his own business, because an alleged fake $20 bill after the fact of the purchase, and that the store wanted the cigarettes back, and because he said no, it cost him his life. The store clerk told 911 that this man, George Floyd, was violent and drunk. So it also explains why the aggression of the cop. Now, the cops were aggressive. Aggression is a behavior. Aggression is taking your knee and shoving it down upon somebody's neck, deliberately to cut off his ability to breathe and to murder him. That is aggression. Aggression is not your hands are in cuffs and you're sitting on the floor bewildered that you're being arrested for sitting in your car. Who knows whether he was told his rights or why he was being arrested. Allegedly, according to the store, that what was supposed to happen, that when the police are summoned, when there's a fake money, alleged fake money, they're just brought to the scene to just find out where the individual may have gotten the fake money. He may not even know it was fake money, so how the hell is he supposed to know where he got it from? Okay? So someone has, it's not balance, the judgment. You want black people to be able to perform to appease white people. But you don't reciprocate to do things to appease us. Like justice, like love and compassion. The system is requiring a 16-year-old boy, a minor, to be able to control his emotions when a cop who's supposed to be trained at what he does to perform his task. So if a grown man, I don't know how old Officer Chauvin was, but he couldn't control himself. So how are black people supposed to win at this game that's not our game? We didn't ask to play this game of cat and mouse. Why do black people have to find solutions for other people's problem when we can barely secure our own lives? We have to teach young teenagers how to please white people so you don't get racially profiled for minding your own business while shopping. Just imagine the Native American Indian. When white people came on board, played the victim game that, oh, we need help this winter, and then they helped them, and the next thing you know, they're getting smallpox because they put the white people put the disease on the blankets and then handed out the blankets as a gift to kill them off. Now that is violence. Isn't that violence? Isn't that true violence? Germ warfare, that is violence. Some white people may think because they're smiling that they're not violent. Their actions are violent to the indigenous people on this planet, on the African, on the indigenous Americans. The whites in question are violent people and a violent culture. And I'm tired of trying to appease someone who cannot be appeased. The thirst and lust for more and more and more blood upon its victims. Why? It seems like there is a that there's not they don't know the difference between aggression and anger. Anger is not violence. When someone doesn't smile because someone sprayed mace in their face, that is anger. When I was at Chase Bank and trying to read my receipt because I found it difficult to read it because I forgot my glasses, my reading glasses. That is not aggression. These are institutions I don't know how to read, who don't know what the word aggression means. And I wasn't even angry. I wasn't even angry. You're reading people's facial expressions. You don't know how to read it, Chase Bank. You're a foolish institution. You're foolish. And you cause me emotional distress. And you're not man enough to come and see me after I was a customer of your bank. You had purchased out the other bank, and that's why I have to do business with you. And you did not show me goodwill, and then you covered it up. You're just as bad as the police officers who were called on the scene, and then you made a false judgment. You're calling people who are bewildered at why you're even there, being aggressive by speaking harshly, using your batons to break in windows. Or how about the young 22-year-old man and the other woman, the 20 and 22-year-old college student in Atlanta, Georgia, who was driving through and then chased and then tased. And these people were not aggressive. You are aggressive. You are. You are the aggressors. And you are not able to manage your own body and your mind. You have an aggressive mindset because you're wicked and you're generationally wicked. And each of your generations are teaching the next generation. It is not up to black people to try to psychoanalyze white people's mentality. It's up to white people to manage their emotions and their behavior and their motive. Is your motive about subjugating people? Is it about taking land that's not yours? Is it creating vaccines that cause deaths in many children and causing autism in much of our black young people? That is aggression. We are only responding to your wickedness. You need to police yourself. You do. It is not the job for this 16-year-old black child or the 31-year-old man or the 45-year-old man to discuss passionately amongst themselves how to survive so that they can get to the next generation. You're putting an impossible task on these three individual males. 16, 31, 45. It's impossible. It is impossible to do such thing. You cannot even police yourself. Everywhere you go, there is violence because of your hands. Take a close look in the mirror. You, white people, throughout the world, need to look in the mirror if you live in a land that's not indigenous of your people. Take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, did I hurt somebody when I called the cops? Because this person didn't smile at me when I was waiting for them to smile first. Or how about the video of, get this, she is the granddaughter of Bob Marley, the famous reggae singer of Jamaica. Bob Marley's granddaughter was racially profiled in California 2 years ago because she and three other people, two other blacks and one white, was at an Airbnb, and the neighbor across the street, a white lady who was watching them, and when she was interviewed, they said, well, they were avoiding me, they weren't looking at me, and they didn't wave at me. I kid you not. And called the police on them. And even though Bob Marley's granddaughter contacted the owner of the Airbnb, that wasn't enough. That the owner had to come physically there to verify. Isn't that something? Because a white lady's feelings are hurt because she's not the center of attention. See, your behavior is aggression. Your behavior. When you deliberately call and put dispersions on people such as Amy Carter, the woman who's at the Ramble with her dog, and she didn't like when a black person just kindly asked her to put her dog on a leash because they're at the Ramble. And she retaliated and said, I'm going to call the cops and tell them that African American man is threatening me and my dog. So he said, go right ahead. Yeah, that is aggression. You don't even know yourself. Because you don't know yourself, everywhere you go is a trail of tears, a trail of anger on the planet. And you walk around getting offended when no one wants to wave back at you because you're a violent person. You are historically violent. You are. When you kidnap African people and then do sexual crime against them, you rape them. You put chains on them, then you whip them. And then you create laws that they cannot have their own industry. That is violence. Someone crying because they're in pain is not violent. That is anger. White people, you need to learn what anger is and what violence is. And you would see a picture. You show a picture of a black person, it's generally anger. When you show a picture of a white person, it is violence and aggression. You are the aggressor. You, in general, are the aggressors in America. And you're confusing black anger. Anger is anger, and aggression can lead to death. Everything that you've done oftentimes leads to death and harm. You need to read a dictionary and to learn the distinction of anger and aggression. And you would see that your photo is under the caption of aggression and the aggressor. Stop the violence upon black people, of the indigenous people of the planet. You are harming the planet, and I want it to stop. And this is my message. I thank you all for listening. And for those out there who know the distinction between anger and aggression, they're two completely different things. Learn how to manage your own anger and to not be aggressive with your fellow man just because of their race or color. Let's be kind to one another. Let's be gentle to one another. Let's stop being fake for a change. Thank you so much for listening. Peace, love, and joy this beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning in New York City. Take care, guys and gals, and enjoy a blessed day. Bye-bye.